Kate Woolman with Marketing Divas, and I'm joined by Jeremy with Juicy Results. And today we are talking about how to create spreadable content with your marketing. So Jeremy, what is spreadable content?
So we call spreadable content any kind of content that has a higher than average chance of actually getting shared and liked and interacted with by your audience, which is really the goal of social media content. So what we've done is we've actually developed 8 patterns that we find will actually give you a better chance, a higher than average chance of getting your content shared.
Awesome. Yes, this is one of the biggest topics of conversation with business owners because everybody wants to put things out on their social media sites that gets shared and comments and likes, and it gets very frustrating when business owners are seeing other companies do it really well and they're not getting this kind of spreadable ideas and content out as well as other companies are doing. So you work with a lot of different companies and create awesome content that just gets likes and shares and a lot of engagement from their fans and followers. So you've come up with these 8 patterns. So what are they? We want to know.
Well, great. So we've identified these 8 patterns, and I believe there are probably more than 8, but these are 8 that we go back to time and time again. So I'd like to walk you through them and actually show you some examples of how they work. So the first one is interaction and recognition. So it's really kind of 2 patterns that are very related. So interaction is any kind of content that you design specifically to elicit some interaction from your audience. Here's a great example from Red Mango. If you could invent any flavor of froyo, what would it be? So it's a great question. It's related to their brand. It's a lot of fun to answer, and it's challenging your creativity. So this is going to get a lot of comments, as you can imagine, which is going to increase the likelihood that your friends see that you're interacting with them. And you might like other people's comments. You might, be able to interact with it. And we hope that the brand would like your comments and interact with you and maybe, actually call you out and reference some of the really good ones. So on the recognition side, anytime somebody does interact with your brand, they go out of their way to do that, you should recognize them as much as possible. And so right now, Home Depot is running a brilliant contest called the Photobomb Contest, where people take the Home Depot bucket, which everybody knows if you've been to Home Depot, and they photobomb their friends with it and they submit it to Home Depot. Home Depot in turn shares it on their page, and people get really excited when they get recognized by these big brands, and so all their family members are sharing it and talking about it and commenting on it, and so it's got a higher, as you can see, a higher than average chance of creating a lot of viral nature to it. So that's the interaction and recognition pattern.
Now, going back to the question, I know I see a lot of businesses ask questions, and the thing that I notice some of them do is ask a question that's really hard to answer. So obviously this question was, what's your favorite kind of froyo? It's easy to answer, you don't have to think about it, and you're going to engage some responses, whereas some companies ask a more open-ended question and wonder why they're not getting the kind of engagement.
Yeah.
So you have to make things really simple.
And fun to answer. That froyo question, is really fun, and you can imagine creative people would really like to come up with it, and probably a lot of people have often thought about what flavor would they love to see, and they've already got the answer and they're just ready to share it.
I love that.
That's a great point. So moving on to the second pattern I want to share with you is real time, and this is something that I think companies can do a better job of for sure. So I think that most people that follow big brands, they get used to them being very scheduled, and they kind of think of everything as being canned and pre-thought and approved, the whole bureaucracy thing. So real time is any time you can actually take advantage of something that they're experiencing right now. So it could be if you're a local store, it could be we've got a deal that is only good for the next 30 minutes, or we just got a shipment of X, Y, and Z. Or if you're getting ready for a huge event or a party, kind of showing people behind the scenes, like building up to it. Or it could just be in the case of the famous Oreo example, when the lights went out in the Super Bowl. It was a Sunday night, and here is this big brand, and they came up with this just brilliant piece about how you can still dunk in the dark. And people were really surprised and totally engaged by it, and they shared it and retweeted it, and it got as much media attention the next day as the people who spent millions of dollars on these commercials.
I love that. I love this example because I always find it so funny when it's the weekend or during the week and there's a football game and people are just talking about the sports team that they love and they're getting in fights with other people, or just there's so much engagement around that. Or TV shows, everyone's like has their couple of TV shows that they're really passionate about and they're hashtagging and doing all these things on social media. So I love the idea that businesses are getting in on that and participating in that level. So
definitely, and that goes back to knowing your target market at your persona, and if you feel like there's a large percentage of your audience who is watching American Idol or watching a football game, or all going to the same thing at the same time, you want to associate your brand with that, and either poke fun at that or take advantage of it, and people really appreciate that because you're extending the experience they're going through at that time.
I love that.
Great. So the third one is the third pattern is exclusives, and this really piggybacks on the whole deal and a discount thing, which everybody knows that people like discounts and special offers. But a lot of brands are wary about couponing and discounts, and so it doesn't have to be. It might be a special package or a special offer that's only available to your email newsletter list or your social media fans, and people love this because this is like being on the inside and getting something nobody else gets. And whenever that happens, there's a high likelihood that they're going to share that with their friends, and look what I have, and you can take advantage of this too. And this is a great example with Virgin America because it's kind of the real time and the exclusives at the same time. It was a timely deal. It came out. They announced it right away. And there's, you're increasingly likelihood, again, that your audience is going to do the sharing and the liking and the promoting for you, which is the best, the best part of social media.
Yeah, I love this example, and I just think it's so fun because people do love to be in the know, and they love to be the first one that gets to share something with their friends that might not have known about it, or if they took advantage of a coupon and passing it along, and maybe come join me for this. So I love that.
Great. Now the fourth pattern is probably the most common one, the one that people know the most about, and it's obviously humor. Anytime you can use comedy or humor, there's a good chance that people will like that content. But what I want to talk about specifically are the inside jokes that are relevant. What's the humor that's really funny about your brand or your company or even just your industry? And if you can find clever ways that your audience will laugh, and they'll laugh because they know about your brand, that's the best kind of humor you can put out there. So this example that you're looking at is 2J's, which is a deli kind of famous for their big black and white cookies. And if you've ever seen Ancient Aliens, this guy thinks everything's a UFO. And so it's just an opportunity for us to kind of piggyback on this idea. And it's clever. And people who go to 2J's that know about the brand are going to think this is more funny than someone who's never found out about 2J's. Another example with the same company is the I'm a pickle, you got to deal with it. So this is it's not overly funny. It's kind of clever, but again, it's a deli, and every sandwich comes with a pickle, and so it's going to be cute. And it's got a lot of shares and interactions and likes because it was relevant and funny to their audience, people who are familiar with the brand. So that's the winning formula with this pattern is what's going to be clever and funny because they know about your brand, because they like you, because they follow you, and those are the best examples of the humor pattern.
Awesome. And the thing about these 4 patterns is that it takes some time to create. It actually takes some time to sit down, think about your target audience, what's going to really get them to share this message and get people excited about sharing the message.
Absolutely. But what's great about knowing about the patterns is that you're not starting with a blank slate. So you have to come up with this content anyway. And if you understand these patterns, then you're going to kind of stack the deck in your favor that content is going to get spread more often and by more people than if you didn't know about the patterns.
Absolutely. So when you're putting together your content calendar, think about these patterns, and Jeremy actually has 4 more that we would love to share with you right now, but we are out of time, so you will have to join us for our next video. And in the meantime, for more juicy marketing tips, you can check out marketingdivas.com or juicytheropes.com.